Right, now we're cooking with Draconic, right? So, the hero abilities have finally been revealed for Syndra and Fang. So, what do we have? Well, they both have the same initial clause, which is whenever you hit a marked hero, create a fealty token. Now, if you don't quite remember what fealty is, right, it's right there on screen for you. So, instant, destroy this. Next card you play this turn is Draconic. At the beginning of your end phase, if you haven't created a fealty token or played a Draconic card this turn, destroy this. And as for the marked interaction, all we have so far is a token generated, right? It has no clause, it is not an aura, it's not something interactable, destroyable in that sense, right? It just exists. You are marked until your opponent hits you. So the idea is you mark, you hit, you get a fealty token. And that is the core mechanic, right, of Fang and Cindra, or it might sort of lend itself a bit more to draft, but it's definitely tied into Fang's ability, but Syndra first, right? So once per turn instant, pay 3. Equip up to 2 Draconic daggers from your graveyard. This costs 1 less to activate for each Draconic chain link you control. So while 3 does seem like a heavy ask initially, got to remember, your 2 dagger swings are 2 chains already. And unless the daggers are, something horrid, like while this is in your graveyard, this is Draconic, or if this is, the third or fourth attack chain link, then they're Draconic, right? As long as they're just stock standard Draconic daggers, then this is a pretty nutty ability, because straight away, again, 2 dagger swings, that's 2 chain links, a third Draconic card, and you can basically re-equip your daggers if you have some sort of destruction effect. So it is quite the nice tempo push, I feel, right? So once per turn instant, it's not going to disrupt your chain, and it might lead to, at most an extra 2 swings. So 4 weapon attacks in a turn, depending again on how you go about destroying your daggers. Then for Fang, we have if you control 3 or more fealty tokens, dagger attacks cost you 1 less to activate. So similar in essence to Kassai's ability, right? Kassai's is if you've drawn this turn, your swords, right, cost 1 less to play, but with Fang, it is daggers. Now, kind of a little bit nicer, because the whole thing about fealty is it has that destruction clause, right? If you have created a fealty token or played a Draconic card, you don't have to destroy it at the end of your turn. And then it's also an instant proc, meaning you can keep them on board. So in essence, right, you can build up to 3 fealty tokens and then manage them by simply playing a Draconic card each turn, meaning that, in a few turns, depending on, again, how quickly you can set up marks and lead to the fealty tokens. Again, if you can mark consistently, then all you have to do is land a single hit on your opponent in any given turn to start ramping up the fealty tokens. But as Fang, once you have 3 set up, you can keep them on board. When you get that 4th one, you can utilize it to convert one of your cards to Draconic. Otherwise, it's just a simple matter of playing a Draconic card each turn to keep your 3 tokens around so that your daggers cost 1 less. So overall, I do like both of their abilities and what they sort of mean towards combo. But why don't we dive a little bit deeper, right, into both of them. So we'll start off with Syndra. Okay, so for Syndra, again, we don't know what her weapon is. In fact, we don't know what Fang's weapon is either. But most likely, Draconic Dagger, maybe a dagger each, maybe their weapon is universal. Given the art, right, it's probably something specialized for Fang, something specialized for Syndra. But here's just a mock, right? So once per turn action, I can see it, sticking to Ninja Daggers and being 1 cost. But given the effect, I could also see them making it 2 cost and maybe a discount depending on chain links or some other interaction with Draconic cards. But overall, I don't think it needs much, right? It can be just the shittest weapon, vanilla weapon, heck, 1 damage, I'll still take it, as long as it's Draconic from the get-go. Again, if it's not Draconic from the get-go, if there's some sort of clause, whether it's in your graveyard, this becomes Draconic, or again, after X amount of chain links, it becomes Draconic, as long as it's just Draconic on board, and therefore easy to utilize with Syndra's ability, I'll take it as 4 swings a turn, right? So you swing twice, 2 chain links down, play another Draconic card, play something that pops your daggers, and then re-equip them and swing again. Right? That's value on board. And then of course you can tie in the Ninja Dagger sports, a card like Knives Out, right? Knives Out, if you are easily getting off 3 to 4 swings a turn as Syndra, well, Knives Out becomes pretty positive in value for a blue buff card with 0 cost, right? So the ratio is usually a 2+, and just by 2 swings, you're already getting that with Knives Out. But if you can, again, swing 3 to 4 times, then you're getting much more value out of Knives Out. It's blue, so you can cycle it around, and it's 3 block in a pinch as well. So yeah, I am definitely excited for Syndra's mechanic. She definitely doesn't rely on fealty and marked as much as Fang seems to. But, well, in that sense, it could also be, again, the daggers are draconic if your opponent is marked or something like that. I do sort of lean towards them putting some sort of constraint on the daggers being draconic, right? Just so this ability isn't just a straight up have a few extra swings every turn that you find one of your dagger destruction abilities. But more importantly, right, the nice simple synergy is of course going to be flick knives, right? So again, as long as the daggers are just draconic on board, you have swing twice, pop a flick knives, destroy one dagger, play another draconic card, equip one dagger back, and swing a third time. And that is the simple tempo generation of your turn, right? And we've already seen Blood Run Steep, so this costs one less to play for each Draconic Chain Link control. Again, if the daggers are Draconic on board, that means swing twice. Blood Run Steep is free. You play Blood Run Steep, destroys both your daggers, you get the ping damage, and then you can go straight into Syndra's ability for free, because you have 3 Draconic Chain Links at that point, and swing 2 more times, and all of a sudden you're at 5 Draconic Chain Links, right? That is pretty sizable. But then you also have cards like Bleed Out, right? So it costs less, equal to the total damage that you've dealt with your daggers this combat chain. So again, if you're throwing out 3 to 4 dagger swings a turn, plus the damage from Thrick Knives, plus the damage from Pearls even, or Blood Runs Deep, your Bleed Outs then become just your free tempo pieces that have seemingly above damage rate, being 0 for 4 with Go Again in the case of red, or 0 for 2 with Go Again for blue, right? So yeah, and then all that can be topped off with a card like Stab Wounds, just to push the fold, because you will probably have enough chain links and enough an ability to go wide that you can land a card like Stab Wound as your finisher. So again, just on board, right? Say you swung twice, you flick knives, you've swung again, your dagger's only 1 damage, sure. We'll make it cheap as, right? You've hit 3 times, you've flick knifed once, you're now doing 0 for 2. If it lands, do an extra 4 damage, right? And that's if the daggers are just 1 attack, and they're most likely going to be 2 attack, plus again, ways to buff them, ways to re-equip, do more damage. You could set up, right? You could burn through your entire daggers, swing, pop them, re-equip, pop them again, and then go into something like Stab Wounds with the prospect that next turn after you've played 3 more Draconic cards, which again, if you've gone rid of your daggers, might be a bit harder to set up, but the likelihood that you're going to be easily able to re-equip 2 of them because your re-equip button is on board, right? You don't have to go find a card in your deck. It is destroy them and re-equip them. Don't pay silver. All you need to do is get to 3 chain links. And that is pretty nice to me. And a comparative to Fae, right? The reason why we got Searing Ember is because Fae could do crazy stuff if he was able to generate chain links nice and easy. And what have they done? They've put on board a way for Syndra to generate 3 to 4 chain links relatively easy, which then leads us to some of the more payoff cards in Draconic Ninja, right? We have Rising Resentments. You may banish an attack action card from your hand with cost less than the number of Draconic chain links you control. If you do, it costs 1 less to play this turn, and you may play it this turn. So again, if you've set up 3 to 4 chain links, you now have the pick of the cards in your hands that are remaining to still play them and play above curve, right? You don't have to pitch into anything, aside from, most likely, the dagger swing. So that's payoff 1, payoff 2, engulfing flame wave. Same sort of mechanic. If an attack action card is revealed from the top of your deck with a cost less than the number of Draconic chain links you control, again, looking on average, probably around 3 to 4, easily set up, you may play it this turn. So you get a free card off the top of your deck. It's unconditional like the majority of Ninja cards. All it has to be is an attack action rather than a specific card, a card with combo, right? And then you get to play it, again, as long as it costs less, and in a Ninja deck, it is most likely going to cost less than your 2 to 3 to 4 chain links that you've set up just through your daggers alone. Then you have Soaring Strike. When this hits, you may bash attack action card from your hand, and then if it has a cost less than the number of Draconic chain links, it gets Go Again, meaning that you can take cards like Stab Wound that we showed off before, and now give it Go Again and tie it into something else. You will have a huge ability, as Syndra it seems, to go super wide, which then, Spreading Flames. Draconic attacks you control, attacks, right? Keyword there, means it will affect the daggers. Again, if the daggers are just base Draconic, have +1 while their base is less than the number of Draconic chain links you control. It seems like Syndra is going to have a hell of a time setting up a whole bunch of chain links. And then even with the Filthy to tie in, the fact that you can convert cards to Draconic to then benefit from some of these other Draconic synergies, right? Allows you to play a bit more loose with the deck construction comparative to Fae. And yeah, again, it's not only can she set up one extra chain link, it's most likely she can set up an extra 2 to 3 chain links depending on how you utilize her ability and dagger destruction. It's just, yeah, it's so simple with flick knives, right? 2 swings, flick knives, a 3rd swing, and all of a sudden you have 3 chain links, right? It is quite exciting for me, right, to see where Syndra goes, because again, this is bare bones. We have her ability, and we have a few cards from the set, right? And then we have a few cards from Uprising, but nothing else just yet. So you can only improve from there. But anyway, let's check out Fang. Okay, so Fang is a little bit different, right? Because comparatively, we can look at Quicksilver Dagger, right? So we don't know what Fang's weapon is going to be, but even if it's horrid, we have Quicksilver Dagger to lean back on. So Quicksilver Dagger, pay 1 to attack. Yes, it starts off with 1 damage, that's fine. If another weapon you control has gained Go Again this turn, Quicksilver Dagger has Go Again. So even if it's 1 Draconic weapon, 1 of his new, and a Quicksilver Dagger, you can really lean into the Go Again, right? And again, with the whole Fealty setup, the whole idea would simply be get to 3, right? Once you get to 3, your Quicksilver Daggers are free. So then all it becomes is that constraint of setting up Go Again and having those 2 extra attacks on top of whatever you're doing throughout your turn. So all you have to do is play as many turns as it takes to mark your hero, land your hits, and get your fealty tokens, and then just make sure you play a Draconic card each turn, or in essence, again, mark and create another fealty token, and then you have your free dagger swings, where all you need is Go Again, and you can go dagger swing for free at the start of your turn, right, into something else. You can throw in some of the pierce cards, you can throw in some of the other weapon synergy the warrior has plenty of, right, and get a lot of value out of your daggers early on. And this is speculating just with Quicksilver Dagger, let alone whatever Fang ends up actually getting in his kit. As for the cards that have been revealed, right, we have Long Whisker Loyalty as a Draconic Synergy, Dagger Synergy card, right? So for each Draconic Chain Link you control, choose one. So again, we take Quicksilver Daggers out off the table, and we're looking at another Draconic Dagger, which would make a lot of this setup, again, chain links for Draconic, super easy. And essentially, you know, with Rupture and the other sort of idea behind Draconic, again, setting up a bunch of chain links for payoff, I could see them giving both Fang and Cindra Draconic Daggers, right? So for each Draconic chain link you control, choose one. Target dagger gets +2 damage. You may attack with target dagger an additional time this turn, and the next time target dagger hits a hero this turn, mark them. So the fact that, again, that allows you to set up more fealty, gets you an additional swing with your daggers that will most likely have an easy time accessing Go Again, and then just straight up buff. It is a very versatile reaction. Then you just need 1 attack, 1 swing, and then the second dagger, you can benefit from all 3 effects of Long Whisker Loyalty, right? You can open with 1 dagger and then start setting up repeat effects with the other. And then for the stances, we have our Flurry stance, which is my favorite, right? Destroy this at the start of your turn, and then you may attack with each dagger you control an additional time this turn, right? So just straight up, just extra swings. Again, you're going for all this after you set up your 3 fealty tokens. Agility stance, Go Again at the start of your turn, destroy this, and your dagger attacks get Go Again this turn, so you don't have to worry about repeating. Ideally, you probably want to set up a lot of these stances in conjunction with one another, right? One of the Go Again, a couple of the additional attack, and you're cooking with 3 swings. And in that essence, if he does get, say, a 2-cost Draconic Dagger, I'd almost just rather the 1-cost Quicksilver Dagger for its ease of use and tempo when you're just playing it turn after turn once you have those 3 fealty tokens set up. And then lastly, Power Stance. So Go Again, at the start of your turn, destroy this, then your dagger attacks get +1 for the entire turn, which is a nice buff, again, with something that starts off a bit minimal, like the Quicksilver Daggers. And then, of course, lastly, we have some of the other big payoffs for Warrior, or just the utility cards, if you will. So Blade Flurry, right? Target weapon attack gets +2, and then your next swing also gets +2. So just a nice push of tempo for 0 cost. Again, synergizing with daggers, especially daggers that you don't have to pay for. Spoils of War, next weapon attack this turn gets +2, and Go Again to activate the Go Again effect of your Quicksilver Daggers. And whenever a weapon you control hits this turn, create your copper tokens. I could see something happening with the copper tokens. Probably not, though, right? I still am hopeful that eventually we'll get some sort of conversion effect, But I can see Knick-Knack, Bric-a-Brac coming into play, because there are some useful talismans and other effects, especially if, again, you're leading with your dagger swings, the Amulet of Assertiveness. If you're swinging first, your hand is going to be full, so you're going to be able to use that effect, right, and try and pop off another attack from the top of your deck. What other Featherfoot for go again, right? All you need is a +1 in the reaction step, which isn't too hard as Warrior, right? There's a few good ones, and the fact that, again, search out, put it onto play, it is kind of a good payoff if you have a lot of copper. I'm talking, probably 8 to 12, so you can get multiple effects rather than just one usage of Knick-Knack, Bric-a-Brac. But yeah, that's just where my mind goes with some of the more novelty cards. But then, of course, we have Oath of Steel, which is definitely going to be the card I will be building around, right? So whenever you attack with a weapon this turn, put a +1 counter on it, and then at the beginning of your end phase, remove all the counters. But the whole idea there is that's your finisher. You're trying to set up a whole bunch of swings with your Quicksilver daggers, especially when you can, front load cards on an additional turn, right? So you set up all the stances, and then you go into Oath of Steel, and then you're swinging, and each dagger swing is free, which was one of the big things when I was, demoing it and thinking about it. How do you get around the Quicksilver cost? Well, as long as you have 3 Fealty, it's free, right? So yeah, that payoff is super easy to do now that we know Fang's actual effect. Then you have cards like Iron Song Determination. Target weapon gains +1 and dominate until the end of turn, right? So that will help you get those little hits across, especially, again, if you're starting off with a small damage amount like Quicksilver Dagger. Blade Runner, target one-handed weapon gets go again. Again, will activate the Quicksilver's effect. Plus, then just a little bonus, you can take the blue, which is a +1. Although in that essence, my mind was going back to the Amulet of Featherfoot. It's not really that useful. Hit and run, next weapon attack this turn gets go again. Again, activates Quicksilver daggers. And then if you attack with a weapon this turn, next attack this turn gets +1. So again, just a increase to damage, right? It should be noted that's the blue version. The red version is still +3. But yeah, overall, regardless of the weapon Fang actually gets, the combo is just right there, right? Once you have 3 Fealty, maintain 3 Fealty, set up a whole bunch of swings, and just use the free cost daggers that, again, only need 1 go again proc to run away with, right? Set up 3 Oath of Steels, and that is a ton of damage that you're going to be putting out. Altogether, I am pretty pumped for both their effects. I can't wait to see what Arakni gets, but yeah, God, once we get their daggers, I've seen sort of mixed thoughts and feelings, but I don't know. It feels like if this is the starting, right, there's very little that can go wrong with the actual cards in set, especially since we've seen some of the Majestics, thanks to the promos. It sort of feels like we're going back up a little in power, right? As well, not necessarily power, it's more aggression and going wide, right? Definitely both Fang and Cindra are very wide heroes. But there we go, right? 2 abilities, a little bit of Mark synergy for draft, and, well, a bit more utility for Fang in the long run. And yeah, pretty juicy. I'm very curious as well, right? So the little cutouts that we have there, what was revealed, and these are the Marvel front sides. So I'd like to see if it's not straight black border, right? And has a little bit of that fiery edge, but that's probably just the artwork from the reveal. But anyway, let me know what you think. Who are you excited more for, Syndra or Fang? It's going back and forth to me because I really want to be able to pull off a stab wound combo, right? And Syndra setting up so many dagger attacks off rip, right? What would it be? It'd be 2 swings, pop them both, re-equip them both, swing again, pop them both. So that's 8 dagger procs, right? So at least 4 damage through effects like Blood Runs Deep and Hurl, and then whatever your daggers are actually doing into stab wound. That straight away just seems quite nice to me, right? And then of course Fang with Oath of Steel and just free dagger swings for days. Yeah, hope you enjoyed. See ya.